Hello and welcome into this special edition of Down to the Wire with Daniel. We'll start this segment off first talking about Tennessee recruiting. I'm going to give another update. So first off, we got another huge recruit in Cody Brown, a very good running back from Georgia, one of the top prospects. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, everybody, Ohio State was after him. And guess who got him? Tennessee again, making big strides. And then a little bit later, we get Colby Smith, another top-rated offensive tackle, 4-star. And I think he'll be a great addition also to this class. Now Tennessee is number 2, just behind Ohio State. So I think this is turning out to be an amazing class. And now we're number 1 SEC and number 2 in recruiting. So, I mean, it can just get better from here. So, I mean, what a great job by Jeremy Pruitt and his coaching staff. To start off this special edition, well, the reason it's a special edition is because from now on, each week we're going to go division by division. And today, we're going to start off with the NFC North. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about. It's a very stacked division. And, well, at the top, you got the Packers and the Vikings. And first, I'm going to start off with the Packers. Well, they have Aaron Rodgers, a very Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the best we've ever seen. And I think he'll continue to have another great season. And then you have Devontae Adams, a really good wide receiver. And then on the offensive side, you don't have that many other weapons. I mean, they didn't get anybody in the draft, so I don't know really what they're doing. But they also have Aaron Jones, a very good, talented young running back. I mean, they have a pretty good defense. It's Darius Smith and Preston Smith, 2 great edge rushers. But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year because they didn't help Aaron Rodgers. They just brought in not a bad quarterback, but a quarterback that needs a little time, like maybe 2 or 3 years to learn. And I don't know why he shouldn't have been picked in the first round by the Packers. They needed wide receiver help, and they made a bad decision. So next, we're going to go to the Vikings. And the Vikings, I thought they had a great draft, a great free agency. They didn't have that much cap room, but they had to release some veterans, Linval Joseph, Xavier Rhodes, and some other players. But I think the Vikings had a very good draft and good at free agency. First starting off by getting Michael Pierce, a nice run stopper, to help solidify that defensive line. And then in the draft, they go draft a ton of defensive players. Troy Dye, in the 4th round, you get Troy Dye, a very versatile linebacker from Oregon, very fast, physical, can cover any wide receiver in the world. So, I mean, that was a great pick, and that got him in the late round. So, and in the first round, you get Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's a great wide receiver, great route runner, good hands. I mean, he's nice at when you want to throw the ball up to him, he goes and gets it. So that was a great addition. And then you get Jeff Gladney, a nice corner from TCU, physical, speedy, nice hands. And then you get some other corners, Cameron Dantzler from Mississippi State. He showed up really good last year, and I think that also helped that cornerback room. They didn't have that much help with just Mike Hughes and Holton Hill, the only 2 cornerbacks on the roster. So, and then they get James Lynch, a nice pass rusher from defensive tackle from Baylor. 13.5 sacks was really underlooked. The Vikings got him in the 4th round too. I mean, it's just a great all-around draft. And also in the 2nd round, Ezra Cleveland from Boise State, a nice big tackle, good hands. He can move on the line. So, I mean, that just to solidify the Vikings offensive line. So, I think that really helped them. I thought the Vikings had a really good draft. I mean, just to solidify their whole team and especially their defense that needed a lot of help. So, I thought that was very good. And I think they still have a shot to get a very good chance to get in the playoffs, and I think they have a chance to make a little run in the playoffs too. And then going next to the Detroit Lions, I thought they had a really good draft too. I mean, they got all their needs on defense. They pass rusher got Julian Okora. He's really good from Notre Dame. Nice speedy pass rusher to go along with Trey Flowers. So I thought that was very good. I mean, obviously they still have Matthew Stafford, one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the NFL. You have Kenny Galladay, a really underrated wide receiver. Danny Amendola, who has really gone on this Patriots, and now he's on the line. So I think, and also Marvin Jones Jr. So they have a nice wide receiver core right there. And on the defensive side, they get Jeff Okudah, a very good, talented corner, pick number 3 overall from Ohio State. I think he's very good. I mean, they just had a really nice draft. So I think the Lions, they're starting to get pretty good. So I think they have a bright future, and you never know. Maybe they could get a wild card if everybody stays healthy. It's really important that Matthew Stafford stays healthy, because if he doesn't, they're done. And now going to the Bears, I did not like their offseason at all, because they really needed a wide receiver. And I know they got Nick Foles, but I don't really believe in him. You saw what he did when he was a starter in Jacksonville. and he was terrible, 0-4. I know he got hurt, but still 0-4. That's not acceptable in the NFL. And everybody thought he was so good when he won the Super Bowl, but when he actually has his own team, he can't win a game. So, I mean, and they also Mitchell Trubisky, but I don't think he's that good either. The 1 year he did good, he got carried by his defense, and they still have a lot of holes to fill. So I think the Bears have a long way to go. I mean, I know they still have a very good defense, but their offense has a lot of holes to fill. So that's it all. That's all for the NFC North, and thank you. Let's go to the phones. Hello, you're on.
Hey, Dan, this is Gus. I was just wondering why the Lions stink in the playoffs. I mean, the Steelers have more wins at Ford Field in the playoffs than the Lions do.
Thank you for your call, Gus. Well, I actually don't know why the Lions stink. I mean, well, I do because they don't have that many good players, but I know I talked really good about them earlier, but they still have some pretty big holes to fill, especially on the defensive side. They have some unknowns, like unproven players. So, but I think they have a pretty good core with Stafford. But Stafford just can't get them over the hump. I know he's been hurt recently, but he needs to take that extra step to take this team because if they don't go to the playoffs this year, I mean, Bob Quinn, their GM, and Matt Patricia, they're gone. So they better shape up and get to the playoffs this year because if they don't, they're going to have to, I know they're in a rebuild right now, but they're going to have to go in a complete new rebuild. So, yeah. Let's go to our next caller. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Hey, this is Solomon Hill from down in Florida. You're always so high on the Vikings and Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins has one playoff win. Who would you rather have, Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen or Matthew Stafford and Kenny Galladay? Because Galladay's younger than Thielen, and Stafford has much talented arms than Kirk Cousins, and we're going to be playoffs this year.
I would have to disagree with you, Solomon, because I think, Kirk Cousins, he's getting better and better every year. I mean, he didn't have a playoff win, and he's been in the playoffs before, but this past year he got a playoff win against the Saints, and I think I'd actually rather have Kirk Cousins than Adam Thielen. They're more proven players in the NFL because they've been to the playoffs. Thielen has been in the NFC Championship, was this close to winning the Super Bowl. Getting to the Super Bowl, and I don't think the Lions have that potential yet, so they got a long way to go. The Vikings are still in Super Bowl contention, so that's all I have to say for that, Solomon.
But Cousins hasn't won the big game. These losers under the bright light.
I know. I have to agree with you. He doesn't show up in the big games. Besides the Saints game, he hasn't showed up in the big games. He usually just wins the ones that aren't on primetime. But I agree with you. He has to get better at that. But I think he's a pretty good quarterback, and I think he's a franchise quarterback, and that's why the Vikings chose to give him so much money. Thank you.
One last word. I think the Lions are going to make the playoffs, and the Vikings won.
Thank you, Solomon. I'd have to disagree with that. Lions have a long way to go. Vikings are in Super Bowl contention, so I think you're wrong, Solomon, but thank you for your call. Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Daniel, hey, man. This is Nick from Minnehaha County again. Yeah, first-time listener, long-time caller, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, so I was just wondering what you think of, yeah, absolutely. And I'll hang up and listen, Daniel. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Nick. But yeah, thank you for your call. I'm getting really excited for the NFL season, and I hope it comes because I'm really getting excited after the draft. I'm really pumped for this NFL season and also college football season. I'm excited to see all the teams that have a chance to make the college football playoff, and I think Tennessee might surprise some people this year in college football. So watch out for Tennessee, and thank you for your call, Nick. Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Yeah, man, this is Johnny from Detroit, man.
Hey, Johnny.
And I was wondering why my Lions, they haven't been for a long while,
Yep.
That was my question.
Okay, thank you for the call. Well, I think the Lions, I know I've talked about them a lot, but I think the Lions, they still have a little bit to go. If Stafford is good this year and doesn't get hurt, they might have a chance to make the wild card, but I think they still have a long way to go. So thank you for your call. Go back to the callers. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Yes, this is Van in Kansas City, and I just wanted to see what you thought about the Chiefs letting Dustin Colquitt go as their punter after 15 years, being the longest member in history on their roster, and also the key holder for the place kicker and doing such a good job. How do you think that will affect them in the coming season?
Thank you for your call, Van. Well, I think it might affect them because, I mean, he's been there so long, he knows their playbook, and he's a very good punter. But the Chiefs didn't have that much cap room, so I guess business is business, and they had to let him go. But Dustin Colquitt was a very good player for the Chiefs, and I hope he has I hope he continues to play football. But I mean, it's disappointing that it had to end that way. But thank you for your call, Van.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Hey, this is Lord Christmas.
Hey, Lord Christmas.
I'm just wondering if, like, that Matthew Stafford guy for the Lions, he is almost as old as my great Uncle Nick. Do you think he should play in the NFL?
Thank you for your call, Lloyd. Well, Stafford, he's 32, about to turn 33, so, I mean, I think he has a little left in the tank, but, I mean, he hasn't really, I mean, he's been a pretty good quarterback, but he needs to prove himself in the playoffs. I mean, I know I've already talked about this a lot in this show, but I think Stafford, I mean, I know he's getting old, but he has to prove something, I mean, at least win a playoff game in the near future. So, thank you for your call, Lloyd. Let's go back to the phones. Hello, you're on Down to the Wire.
Hey, this is Kyle Anderson.
Hey, Kyle.
I was wondering what you think about the future of Blair Walsh in Minnesota after he's such a great kicker. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you. Well, I don't think Blair Walsh has that much of a future. I mean, currently he's not. I don't think he's on a roster because he's just been bad. Because I mean, he'd probably still be a Viking today if he just would have made that field goal against the Seahawks in the wild card game, and it would have gave the Vikings a little more room in the playoffs to go to the divisional. But I mean, he misses a 26-yard field goal, doink off the left side of the field goal. I mean, in the playoffs, if you miss a game-winning field goal, you're probably going to get released. And he's not that good of a field goal kicker, so I don't think he's going to have any place to go in the near future. So thank you for your call. Thank you for watching this episode of Down to the Wire. Next episode, we will talk about another division in the NFL. So thank you for watching, and I'd like to thank all of our helpers, especially Shane from McMinn County, who's helped us a lot, giving us information, and Solomon from, he's giving us a lot of information too. So I'd like to thank all of our viewers and our insiders for giving us some information, and thank you for watching.